and of course bringing commentary to you alongside myself. You got to give him some commendation for being a one-man army of sorts. We're here for 100 Thieves and FURIA, like Dean said, and we're looking at a first map here of Mirage. You can see early aggression came through from Azur, who's already pushed into Palace, and he's going to come up on a flank in just a little bit. He'll hear FURIA thrown over the utility onto the A-bomb site, and that should cause earlier rotates. 100 Thieves set themselves up well. Really, though, JKS has to be finding a couple of kills here. Unless Azur gets up behind them as they're still setting for utility, this could be huge for them.
Yeah, my question right now is anyone actually spotting this? Yeah, you can see Art at least is looking towards it, so if that flank comes in, they do have a couple players ready, at least to try and trade it out. The only thing is they need to be careful. It looks like they might start moving back a little bit now. I mean, they've got all these nades, they've got the 2 smokes, 4 flashes. It does seem like A is still going to be their goal, but yeah, they had a little bit of a read or an idea that Palace aggression was a possibility, so they go ahead and clear that out before they begin to move forward, and now they actually have a really good position because it's only that player back towards the CT spawn, really, who, with the, I was going to say with the smoke going down, they actually only had the 2, so they decide to take that fight instead. So that could have given some chances over, but it doesn't really seem like it's going to matter. Overall, FURIA managing to get the kills, bringing it down into a 4-on-2 as the bomb gets planted, and also having a player up close in the CT spawn right now to try and restrict that control for Jacob, just to make that retake a little bit harder. But damn, that was a nice little one-tap there on Vinny. Despite the flash coming in, he was able to turn away, quickly take off one head.
Doesn't look like he's getting much more. Instead, he shuts him down to 3v1. And really good crossfires for FURIA at the moment. Here comes the swing from Yuri, which might just finish it off, and indeed it does. 1-0. FURIA take the pistol round with a stack up and a push on A. Now, when you look at these 2 teams facing off and how the season has gone for them so far, they've got a completely open bracket. I mean, whoever wins this is likely to make playoffs, and whoever loses is likely to not. Obviously, it depends on the other games and how they go down, but it is a completely wide open race. So there's a lot of pressure on both teams to take this across the line.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think this is shaping up to be potentially a closer game than that FaZe versus OG matchup. I mean, the bar wasn't set high in terms of how competitive the game needs to be, but I'm expecting this to be a 3-map series in all honesty. I do think that they're going to be able to pick up their own map choices. That's something we didn't really get to touch on because we kicked it off so quick, but of course Mirage here being the choice of FURIA. Then you have Vertigo coming up next as the choice of 100 Thieves, and if needed we get another nuke. We had a nuke in that previous series as well. So I do think with the way the veto has gone, that both teams definitely should be looking favoured to pick up their own maps, and then with that take us to a map number 3 to actually decide the series. Or at least that's what I'm hoping for, because I like competitive CS. Right now, though, against just the force buy from 100 Thieves, FURIA keeping it fairly simple, getting themselves this mid-control early on. Looking to see if they could boost someone up there to find something around window. They do have just around the minute remaining at this point. And with 1 player over towards Palace, 3 around mid, I mean, really anything's still possible, especially as the bomb is currently focused a little bit more on short.
The scout looking out as Gratisfaction is about on the A-bomb side, but he's in trouble now as this player up on top of wood gets taken down. Caserato dropping a nade down below. It's going to hit JKS hard. Gratisfaction down, and with JKS's low HP, he's no match for the wallbang of Yuri. It's all up to Liaz to win a 1v3, and this may just be another round for FURIA, as I don't quite believe in his ability in this one. Just the deagle in play. A nade and a smoke, and again, in good post-plan positions. They found the information, he's tagged up, and the swing from Henny to close it out. What I want to point out as well is FURIA did a good job of picking Mirage here on a statistical basis. If you take a look at how it could have went down, 100 Thieves, not the biggest fans of Mirage in terms of win rate, although I'll come back to that in a second, but they had to take out Overpass as FURIA are just too damn good on it, leaving us with a Mirage pick from FURIA, which made sense because 100 Thieves haven't won it so far, Vertigo from 100 Thieves, and Nuke to finish it, which is a fairly decent veto for a 3-map series. The problem I have is that 100 Thieves, whilst they've never won Mirage, they were 16-19 loss in overtime versus Fnatic and IEM Katowice. That showed they really know how to play this map, and they are good individuals. So I wouldn't think that they're going to get completely stomped out. And then the other losses they've had were 16-14 in Pro League against Liquid. And yeah, they got 16-3 stomped by G2, but we don't need to talk about that today. Kind of breaks my narrative.
Yeah, so we'll just leave that one out. Lots of people do that if you're trying to make your own narrative. Nah, but
just ignore that.
Overall, yeah, it definitely is the trend. You're not incorrect. But yeah, I mean, coming on to this first gun round now, this is where we really do need to see 100 Thieves start picking up a little bit, obviously. couple weaker weapons also being retained by FURIA. Obviously having plenty of money, so they're approaching this as a little bit of a bonus round. I think with that we might see something a little bit quicker paced, and again just kind of bringing it in towards mid. Nothing too crazy early on, but they do have the Mac 10 leading the way. I believe with that may try and just pressure around connector, and actually going straight through the smoke. Jacob is up close right now. The Mac 10 getting flashed in, not able to get that initial kill, but it was at least traded, and Vinny is well able to follow up quickly and find Gratisfaction. Has brought it into a good spot here for FURIA. Azar, I believe, being spotted. Yeah, Henny dropping in that Molotov. It's not quite going to catch the player, but it doesn't really give Azar any other options apart from actually taking that fight. He obviously couldn't retreat at that point. It didn't allow Liaz to try and come in and actually help him. So it is now a 2-on-3. Finally, one being brought back by Liaz.
The chances are there to make this retake happen, but 100 Thieves don't believe in them. And it would certainly be a risk of 2 M4s in play. They don't want to get down and dirty with them. And so bailing on out, they'll keep the guns clean through to the next round. But what will be backing them up is really the issue. You're not going to have a very convincing buy around them. And you could even take a much lighter buy on the other 3 players and play for round number 5. This isn't like what we saw earlier. Obviously, when you're on the likes of a nuke, if the terrorists were up on a 5-0 lead, you would get a little bit concerned. But with the way things are going, you can happily give them a 5th round, considering it's Mirage. It's a little bit more open to comebacks on either side and to weaker starting CT sides at least. It's more forgiving. So I agree with the decision to play the statistics game and concede a 5th in a way, but they still do have a chance of answering back with the CZ. The Deagle bought up a little bit of utility around it as well. It's not like they're guaranteed a loss here.
Oh, for sure. I mean, 2 rifles alone, even if they didn't have a couple players who also have Kevlar then with pistols, the 2 rifles can definitely still get a lot done. I mean, pick up 1 kill each without it going traded. Suddenly you could have a 5-on-3, or if they both even just get 2 kills, I mean, that's very achievable. But obviously, FURIA definitely favoured in the round. Gratisfaction, he hasn't bought up much apart from just a couple of flashes, so they can be used to help out his teammates. You see 3 players stacked around the A-bomb site itself. 1 player, of course, in underpass. Oh, it's going to be tough for Azar, though, because there's actually 2 players moving towards here, so yeah, he gets taken down without really being able to do too much. The CZ just really isn't the ideal weapon there if you're going to be trying to fight kind of medium range in the underpass.
And this kind of round, you'll take whatever you can get, I guess. Vinny's on to Liaz. Needs to be very careful on top mid. He's quite low. Got the support of Yuri from down below. And as Gratisfaction falls, it looks like no kills are going to be coming through for 100 Thieves. That's unless JKS can answer back. He's got the M4. He's pushed up in Palace. And it looks like exits might be his only hope, as the entirety of the team are down on the site. The bomb about to be planted. Vinny on top mid is quite low, but JKS is playing very passive to just, I suppose, save through the M4, which again makes sense considering they will be full buying up in the next round. This saves them over 4.5 grand, which, you know, those are the kind of savings that make it a little bit worthwhile. You always see those advertisements. Take $20 off your shopping bill. I'll take 4,500, sure. It's been offered.
I'm curious of what the actual worth of the CSGO in-game currency would be if you were to like think about it as actual money. I don't think it would be that much. You probably remove a 0, right? Like, an M4 can't cost that much. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking. Especially an AK. An AK wouldn't cost 2,700.
No, it's probably about $10.
What? I mean, it depends where. Yeah, I suppose. I'm not really experienced on the prices, but it's just something curious. Because obviously, they're not trying to make it actual prices. It's just balance it. But yeah, I mean, it is getting a little bit out of control. You said it's a map here, obviously, where you can make those comebacks happen. It is Mirage. It's not ridiculously one-sided, but there's already 5 rounds here for FURIA on the D side. If they get 3 more rounds, then they're in a pretty decent position. So ideally, from this point, you do need to really see the tide beginning to turn in favor of 100 Thieves if they want to be able to pull this back to a half that they can really be happy with. And I like that they are attempting something a little bit different. They've been struggling with mid. It's been taken pretty much every round so far by FURIA. So instead, they're going to try and swap up, get aggressive in towards ramp, and at least get the info about what's going on around that area, and somewhat limit those A splits, which have been working out really well, of course, for FURIA. That's how they've gotten the majority of their rounds so far.
This early control going through from Art up behind the smoke. Azur's in a... Oh, no, he detects it. He knows something's going on. As he spams through, he's trying to bait Art into a wider peak, and he gets taken down by Jacob. Good setup by 100 Thieves, and with the molly down, that's it splits them. No, they go through it. So much damage taken here, and Vinny taken down through the smoke. That is a 4 versus 2, and not a nice start for Furia. And Gratisfaction, this man's an animal. This time taking Henny down in connector, and before he'll eventually fall to Casarado. But luckily, yet again, the setups are good for 100 Thieves to find those trades. Well, Dean, we finally found the first for 100 Thieves, and like I said, you know, 5-0, it's not a terrible start. You were saying, yeah, if they get 2 or 3 more, it's already a good half, and for sure. But now that 100 Thieves finally have the money to invest in, fully get these weapons out, Gratisfaction with the AWP, something he's been lacking so far, full utility as well, rocking around with kits, they have a much better chance of actually dominating these rounds. And Fury have won the early half, but now it comes into the meat of the game.
Yeah, I mean, 100 Thieves obviously cannot be complacent with just the one round. They need to really get a lot going here, try and get a few rounds in a row to start taking some control. And that is dangerous. Gratisfaction was trying to see if he could find something around that smoke there in the apartments. The scope obviously being here. The spam then coming in, but Art, he wanted to just try and follow that up. I mean, there's normally going to be a player around that short side, probably expecting the smoke to be a little bit deeper than it was. Ended up just kind of walking out into the open of the window, holding a nade, I believe, goes down and gives 100 Thieves a very strong opening into this round, despite the initial damage that Gratisfaction took.
Yeah, I like the setup as well. Gratisfaction going in there, firing off the op in the window before he falls back. Giving himself a chance to find a kill, first of all, but also telling them, hey, boys, can get the op. That was my best attempt. And as he drops on out of the window. Oh, I know. I know all too well. The Twitch chat's going to let me know as well, I'm sure. But Grady just drops off, brings him straight in, and lets his teammate clean them up. But talking about cleaning up, Fury are cleaning house. They're finding kills across the map, opening up A, and putting it into what is a 3v1 on the bomb site itself, as Liaz is the only player left alive. He's tucked in the corner and not being spotted yet. This could be a bit of a jump scare for Furia.
Oh yeah, no, this is going to be dangerous. Unfortunately, not able to do anything about actually denying the bomb plant itself, but will at least have 1 free kill. Sorry, I couldn't get the words out right there. He was waiting to see if someone else had showed themselves, which would have been ideal, especially now as it's actually come down to the 1v2 for Azza, so it's a little bit of an awkward spot. But Vinny, he was actually forced out of the ramp by the Molotov, so that's a very easy 1v1 to be taken. The final player now being Casarado, also not being completely healthy and having a kicker. Azza has a little bit of time to work with, goes forward, gets the headshot. And despite the Molotov going down, of course, has plenty of time. Retrieves the op for himself, is going to go ahead and jump in now and get that defuse through and give 100 Thieves that second round now for themselves in a row. The only issue is only living with 1 player really isn't ideal. Fortunately, they do have a little bit of extra money onto a couple of players, so we will see a drop easily enough coming over for JKS. It's just more so, again, going to be a position where they can't afford to lose the round. Not really building up any money.
I like this kind of a build-up as well. When you get a game where someone gets an early lead and then the other team starts to answer back with the rifles, it gives you real hope that it's going to be a close game. What we need to see is Furia not cooling down. They're going towards the edge of their economy. They're losing Henny in the opening duel as well, which doesn't help. And Casarado also finding one on ramp, trades it back though. That brings them into a little bit of a better position. And look at the aggression down on B. Art's straight out there. He's not happy about being taken down previously with the nade in hand. Azur wants to trade it back further, but he's not able to just yet. Dropping a smoke and pushing in with Gratisfaction hot on his heels. They're on the B bomb site now, but so are the T's. Coming in through the window. Azur's not checking it, but he got spammed at. He knows there's 2 here. Does he know the player is already creeping around? He's got a good angle on the smoke, but Yuri sees him first with the right side peek. And a 3 versus 2. They haven't spotted Gratisfaction, who's sneaky over at the bench, and a free kill for him. Scared to plant the bomb now. They've got to deal with him first, and they do so successfully, as Vinny finds himself in a good position to plant the bomb, being covered from up in the apartments. And now JKS all alone to pull off the clutch.
Had a bit of a chance there. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get the kill onto Casarado, and as the Molotov actually connects on him now, he is forced out of the kitchen. I don't think they're 100% of where it is. Vinny, though, definitely going to be clearing it out, and has a very easy kill for himself there. JKS was expecting someone to peek from around the van/apartments, of course, having just spotted Casarado, so a very tough position for 100 Thieves to be in. As I said, only 1 player living in that previous round that they won, only 3 in the one before that, so they really didn't build up all that much money, and the bit that they did build up from that first round that they won obviously went into the next one then for the reinvestment, so it's a tough spot to be in. I mean, the op available at least for Gratisfaction and MP9 for Azar, Deagle then for Jacob, and we should at least have 2 rifles, but that depends whether they're willing to kind of sacrifice the utility. We could see those players instead going for something a little bit weaker, just so that they can get the more nades. But I think perhaps the weapons will be the better choice at this point. But obviously a pause coming in, having a little bit of a chat, trying to see exactly what way they will do this.
You know, on the T side, there's actually been very little damage done with utility overall, but Yuri's miles ahead. He's almost got the 100 up. Of course, they're not the ones that are in desperate need of any utility. It's the CT side, and it's not even necessarily the mollies or the smokes. Sorry, or the nades that we're talking about, the frags. It's all about the smokes and the flashbangs, which they could have used to peek that angle, but dry peeking into a Krieg. Well, I don't know if you guys have been playing any kind of pug system lately, but dry peeking Kriegs ain't the way to go. Quick tip.
Yeah, clearly not from what happened there on ramp. Vinny actually also finds one as he comes up through connector. Jacob trying to see what he could do from under Palace. Unfortunately, didn't expect him to move up through connector so quickly as well. So he falls, and I think that's pretty much all chances in this round gone for 100 Thieves. The 2 remaining players do have to pretty much just call for the save. I mean, Azza doesn't have a lot to lose, to be fair, so he could kind of stick around with this MP9C maybe if he could get himself a weapon, but most likely he just backs off as well, saves the MP9, gives himself that to work with in the next round, and other than that, it is pretty much just going to have to be Eco coming in from 100 Thieves. They do get 2900, so we could see at least a few pistols being upgraded.
They're severely struggling to deal with the explosive playstyle of FURIA right now. Maybe, I mean, in a way, I feel like it'll cool down a bit on the CT side, although FURIA definitely a team that we know for their very aggressive stances. They like to take map control right out of your hand, very similar to what we saw from FaZe, but I think dialed up that little bit more. They're much more into the gambling on aggression, and it generally pays off. But I hope it does change when we swap sides, or at least before then. What a major problem is for 100 Thieves not having full sets of utility and the strong weapons to back it up. I mean, we mentioned that as they got into the groove of things, they picked up the op, things were looking good, but now FURIA have adjusted to that AWP. The scope, if it's not part of the first battle, they don't seem to be able to answer back too much with it. Also, you swing back the other way, FURIA, even if the AWP is towards the A site, they go for an explosive take, excuse me, they're throwing out their smokes, they're getting their flashes in. It's hard to really do anything about it with the split control they have through underpass into mid and going up connector. And the key components for FURIA with the mid control, with the pushes out A afterwards, up through con, just aren't being stopped. They're not being quenched by any Molotovs whenever smokes are coming in to stop parts of the map, to eliminate some of these angles. I feel like that's really where 100 Thieves are falling down. Talking of mid control, this time 100 Thieves react to go and take it, but they're not even going to get a fight there. FURIA, stacked up outside A, they're changing it up again. They want to just straight blitz. And again, this explosive play style, it's been the problem. Let's see if this time there's a solution.
I mean, the issue is how weak of a buy it is. We know, of course, they weren't able to get the full investment here. Unfortunately, the op's actually over towards middle, so it's just going to be down to the pistols and the SMG to try and do some damage. And, I mean, that's not a bad start. JKS was able to get himself one. Unfortunately, couldn't do much then, being stuck in a Molotov. So he does go down without retrieving the weapon, obviously. Smokes in play, going to stop the other players from really being able to do too much. That's a good nade as well, I believe, towards Gratisfaction. Not doing quite as much as it looked like it may have, but considerable damage, and makes it a little bit easier for Vinny as he goes forward. But they're still managing to trade this one out now. They took a very long time to go forward, so the smokes have begun to fade away. Just that one down towards the CT spawn, which does give a little bit of room for those pistols to try and be a little bit sneaky, maybe cheeky. But I don't think Liaz wants to go down here, so he's just going to fall back off, has a little bit of time to rotate around as he looks to try and come through connector instead, I believe.
Definitely a retake worth going for. Nothing here you want to be saving to the next round. They're in their possession right now. 25 seconds left. Bomb has to be planted. And they're more or less confined towards the A bomb site. There's no way 100 Thieves can know that just yet, but I think they spotted the bomb again, so now probably that knowledge is there. Azar picks up an op. That's huge! Oh, no, he misses the flick. And Henny now knows exactly where his opponent is. Castorado as well. They can cover while the bomb goes down safely behind the boxes. Liaz trying to spam, but he's a bit off the angle as they went towards the backside of the box. Okay! There's one. He knows where the planter was as well. He's going out for him, but runs out of bullets on the spam. And Henny makes sure he runs out of look as well. Up to be retrieved. And 8 rounds now for FURIA. One hell of a dominant T side. They made the right call in going towards the A bomb site, committed with all 5 players, because going in through mid would have been much worse for them. Now you might be thinking, okay, there were 2 players. It was a 2v2 in the end, so surely they could have done something different. Well, they could have, but look at 100 Thieves' position going in for that retake. They've got a Deagle, and was it a Scout? Whereas if players had gone through mid and got caught off by that early push from Gratisfaction being taken down, all of a sudden they're going to have way better guns. They could have a Krieg to defend the A-bomb site without even going in for a retake. This mid aggression is huge from 100 Thieves. Look at how they roll.
That's the bomb actually dropped up on short there. And both of the remaining players also for FURIA really aren't in positions to try and work with each other here. One player back in the spawn, one pushed up in the apartments, and still really looking to pressure on towards B, which isn't really going to be too useful. I mean, the goal there, of course, being to try and get that 1 versus 1 that he was taking up against that player that was towards B, I believe being Liaz. But at this point, Liaz realizing, okay, I don't want to stick here, I don't want to go down and give them a 2 versus 2. I'm going to go back, link up with my teammates, or at least get into a position where we can work together and, of course, actually just hold that bomb down. And with both of the players for FURIA already being tagged up, this should finally be another round here for 100 Thieves. I mean, Caserato's on 1 health. Art is wrapping around through kitchen. Should be getting watched. Liaz, though, a little bit more focused towards top mid right now, so he could potentially get caught off guard. Yeah, and there we go. Art actually able to just creep in, get himself that headshot. A little bit surprising Liaz wasn't being a little bit more cautious there. Almost walked into that spam right there. Jacob did. Just going to wait on the other side of the smoke for now. Time's becoming a little bit of an issue. I think the goal really for FURIA now is to get those kills, and it's not going to be allowed. Jacob gets himself 1 more. Caserato left on 1 health. I mean, even if he gets the first kill, it's very unlikely he gets any more, and even then, he doesn't allow it. 3 to 8. Another round finally comes through for 100 Thieves, but again, it's a much closer round than they'd hoped for. I mean, and all of the money that they get from the round just has to be straight up reinvested immediately.
Even then, and I'm glad a timeout comes through, because I was struggling to come up with it immediately. I don't know what the optimal investment is. Someone's going to have to take a weaker weapon. I think you got to flip a coin here and figure it out.
I think it's going to be Liaz. It looks like Jacob's going to pick up the Krieg.
I mean, even on the T side, they're the ones that call the timeout. Their money isn't actually nearly good enough to get a convincing investment. Yuri and Caserato both have to invest into armor. They need head armor because they know the CT's economy isn't going to be great. Like you said, Liaz in there even with an SMG. And on that, you need head armor to play with. Now you're limited on utility, and your team cannot buy AKs and Kriegs all the way around. Henny goes down to 2 flashes to get a Krieg out, and the worst weapon they've got is a Galil. So it's not terrible, but the pause was really needed to really get the calculators out and go, okay, what do we want? We want this many smokes, we need this, and what weapons are we getting? Figure everything out, because those are very complex scenarios to, you don't want to just rush in and then go, oh, no one has money for me? Oh, okay, I've got a Deagle. Cool.
Will it matter? Yeah, they're going quick. Okay. I mean, a good bit of it is going to be used immediately, as you can see with the flashes, the smoke forward, the molly as well, to stop anyone from being up close on the van, or maybe even trying to stop them from actually jumping up to the apartments if that was the hope. Oh, that was very close right there. May have an actual chance there to go ahead and get the lineup, I was thinking. Actually just gets the wall bang onto Vinny. That is a lot of damage being done early on. You can see, for now though, at least 2 players actually still moving through the underpass, so it's kind of interesting that they are committing here with just 1 player. I guess trying to sell out a little bit of a double fake, or perhaps just pull the rotation so that this can happen. Yeah, Yuri gets up in the window, boosted, able to get 1 before he does go down. But at this point, I think 100 Thieves are a bit unsure about what's happening.
I think FURIA might be too, but eventually it's movement towards the A-bomb site. This round, the game plan's changed about 17 times, but oh my god, it's changing again. Are they going to go back B? They are. BA. They can't know what we're doing if we don't know what we're doing. 100 IQ.
I actually liked the plan there. It was just a little weird that they were willing to sacrifice 1 player. Obviously, be like, oh, they tried to go B, that didn't work, now they're going back A, pull the rotations off. But then they just kept trying to go A, so it was all around weird. But right now, I mean, this could still go either way. Asa on this bomb site is looking pretty healthy considering two of these players on FURIA are tagged up. If he can get those 2 kills, if he can even get one, then they are in a pretty decent spot still. And there we go, manages to get that initial frag. Also dinks down Casarado to 6 health, leaving him on the same as Vinny. So this is going to be very difficult for them to hold down the after plant. But Gratisfaction just b-hops around the corner towards the door and gets his head ripped off. It's all on Jacob now. I mean, again, still looking like the healthier of the remaining players on the server, but against 2 now, if FURIA can just run this time down, or if Vinny can just peek out and spot the booty, that is plenty.
Exactly. Gives him a little love tap on the behind. Yeah, the problem with being up against 2, you can say all you want. Oh, they're 5 HP, they're 10 hits, 1 hit, easy. But you don't know where they are. Unless you swing in to kill one, no matter how low he is if he's behind you. Or if his buddy is. 9-3, this is a convincing T side for FURIA, but there is definitely still time. Look, if 100 Thieves pull it back to 6, you're looking good. Problem? They can't really pull it back to 6, or at least they can't buy right now to maximize their chances of it. Let's put it that way. Also, to be very clear, when I said 100 IQ, that's not technically an insult. That just means, yeah, good idea. Okay idea.
It's likely going to be 10-3 here, though, Mitch. I mean, kind of as I expected. I said I do expect FURIA to pick up their map choice. I would expect the 100 Thieves to be able to get their map pick of Vertigo as well, but even then, you did point out that despite 100 Thieves not really playing this one a lot, they do still tend to have overall close games, bar an exception that you pointed out. But it's certainly not the case right now. I mean, we're not expecting much in this round, so it should be 10-3 at that point. 100 Thieves looking for an optimal half on the CT side of 5 rounds. And with how it's been actually going so far, even then, that doesn't look extremely likely because they've been struggling to actually chain any rounds together apart from the 2 that they did manage back there, as you can see. Even then, not being the cleanest of rounds.
This is the most aggressive mid-control we've seen FURIA go for in a while, but nobody sat outside. Yeah, it's disappointing to see those smokes missed. When nobody sat outside of the A bomb side, it looks like it will be B, at least for the moment. Henny picks 1. They're not looking at connector, but luckily they deal with Azur in time. Moving in towards the B bomb site, shooting down Lee as the rotates through from Grabby. With the Deagle in hand, I don't think he's getting much out of this, although Vinny is 3 HP now. Flank up behind by Art. But no, Art wasn't one hit either, unless it was the headshot, so we're all good. Did Art get a knife kill in the meantime? I missed that.
I actually missed it too. I was more focused on the observing.
You might have picked it on the way through the back.
How much money does he have? 43.50? Maybe, because he does have a little bit more than most of his teammates. But I mean,
I only caught it fading in the kill feed.
Yeah, the economy isn't insane, to be fair, for FURIA. They obviously have enough to buy into this next round, which would be the final round of the half on everyone except for Yuri. So, I mean, there is a bit of a chance if 100 Thieves get this round. You'll see one player being limited down to perhaps a pistol. Perhaps that's an opportunity for them to try and still bring it to 5. And if they do get 5 rounds, obviously get off to a good start on the T side as well. It is always still an achievable game. So I'm not going to count out 100 Thieves quite yet, but they certainly need to pick it up. It has been pretty much all FURIA so far. Especially with just, it's kind of similar to what we've seen back in that previous game, with just the aggression just not being able to be handled. We've seen FURIA, as you pointed out, having this mid-control pretty much free most of the time. 100 Thieves haven't been contesting it all that much. And when they did, unfortunately, it doesn't seem like FURIA have gone for the control. I mean, we had that one round where they had the op and just one rifle, I think, and they tried to push up mid, and it was just a straight-up A execute. Here we go again, FURIA, boosting some players into window. 2 players still towards the top of mid as well. I'm not sure where they're going to try and end this one for the moment. I mean, first of all, they need to actually deal with these players in window. They don't expect a second, though. So, yeah, Yuri, he does get the opportunity to go ahead and get himself one. Had to capitalize on it because Jacob did turn around. But now he's got some serious control. He can just be a massive nuisance from jungle.
The greater good. Just sacrificing 1. They'll never suspect 2. Play the numbers. I like it. Yeah, there are still 3 players in towards the A bomb site with the rotate around by Azur. It's a bit of a problem for them. Henny spotted 1 now. So with the fact that you see 1 in CT, you know there's at least 2 on the A-bomb side at the moment. They decide that they're moving in on B. They've got a player watching for the rotates through as well, which is a huge flank to have in position. Yuri on low HP will just hold the angle and wait for 1 to cross his path. He hears the steps as well. Azur should be dead here. Oh, I think he just managed to swing by in time. Steps up behind. No, that should be Gratisfaction taking him down. Never mind.
I was close. Liaz just wanted to go in and actually stop that bomb plant right there. Casarato just had an easy time cleaning up both of them. It's heartbreaking because It was looking like a round that they could have, maybe even should have taken, and one that they definitely do need. Now it falls flat. They're going to go into this next round, at least with loss bonus, so if these two survive, they can drop over weapons. So it would give them a pretty decent buy. Question is, FURIA, are they willing to hunt? Because they do have enough on all their players as well to go out and try and send one player after this. Perhaps the only thing is, even if they wanted to at this point now, there's just no time. So we will at least see these being saved over. It'll give a decent enough investment. Maybe one player will be stuck down to an SMG or something along those lines. But overall, it at least gives 100 Thieves an opportunity to actually try and still get 4 rounds here on the half. But it's still nowhere near enough, even if they do manage to get it. And I mean, with how it's been going so far, 12-3 wouldn't be surprising. Yeah.
Not the way you really want to start out the series, is it?
It's actually not too bad. They have all rifles. There's an M4 on the ground there for Liaz as well. A little bit limited with nades on 2 of the players, but a little bit better than I expected.
As we were saying earlier, you know, Overpass would have been nice for FURIA, but with 100 Thieves banning that out virtually all the time, this was the next best option, and evidently it's playing out as they hoped for. That spray eventually connects. Oh no, it wasn't even. It was Yuri from behind helping out. We're into a 4v3 either way. And FURIA looking towards the B bomb site very favorably. They've been very fond of switching things up. But this time it does look like it's going to be commitment with the app split as well. He has popping a flash and looking for the peaks, not finding it smoked down up close. That'll give him a bit of cover, but as he swings out, look at that art posted up with the op, just deletes him.
It's a little bit unfortunate. He did get a flash in from a teammate, I believe, was trying to stay alive as long as possible initially. He tried to actually get the aggressive peek there as JKS threw it in, I do believe. But yeah, now as he goes down, it just gets really difficult. Jacob actually should have this 1 kill free. Okay, going to be able to take himself one in the background beforehand. Gets Henny as well. 3 for Jacob. Suddenly it's all onto Caserato in the back of the bomb site right now. Going to have a player coming in from kitchen as well, so he will be exposed to this angle. The question is, does the timing work out for him? And indeed, he gets that first. The issue is getting dinked down in the meantime. 13 health, 1 bullet to the body is all that Jacob needs. He does have a defuse kit as well, so the time, although it is ticking away a little bit, it's not the biggest of deals, and indeed, just creeping around, will eventually manage to spot that shoulder, get himself the kill, and with that, the defuse. So 100 Thieves, they do manage to have at least salvaged themselves that 4-11 half. As I said, though, it's really not enough. They need this pistol, they need the opening gun round as well, preferably for us to start going, okay, they're right back in this now. And that is going to be tough.
Absolute madness from Jacob. I mean, what a round. Picking up so many kills, dominating on that flank up behind on short. They had literally no idea. That's the kind of stuff you want. And if there's one way to go into the next half with a little bit of wind in your sails, that's how to do it. Win out a clutch. It was a 1v1 in the end, but a 4K in the round. Maybe now they can bounce back. Certainly a big ask, but like I said, Mirage is a little bit more forgiving of poor halves when you swap over. I think FURIA outclassed 100 Thieves. It really played against them with the explosive style that shredded the defense consistently. They couldn't react fast enough to deal with what was coming at them. But now on the CT side, the calculated aggression of FURIA versus the slower T sides, excuse me, of 100 Thieves will be an interesting clash. I'd probably still pin FURIA as favorites in a reasonably close, like 8-7, 9-6. I would slightly favor them to take it across the line. But with 11-4, I think this map should probably be theirs. But it is, again, worth mentioning that although 100 Thieves, looking at this on a surface level, you might say, oh, well, they suck on Mirage. It's fine. They've never won it. It's like 1916 versus Fnatic and Katowice. 16-14 loss versus Liquid. They're by no means bad.
Yeah, I mean, that's what surprised me so much. I was thinking, as I said, that each team, with how the veto went down, would be able to take their own map choices, but we also did point out that overall, 100 Thieves, they have had close games, bar that one exception, which was a 16-3 versus G2, if I'm remembering correctly, because you were the one that said it.
Yeah, I think it was 16-3.
So yeah, I mean, that is a big exception, because that is that is not a close scoreline by any means, and it does kind of seem like we might actually be getting that 100 Thieves today. But as we said, it is a great map for FURIA, so it's not that surprising. I do still think they're going to fare a lot better as we move on towards Vertigo, and also over on Nuke. I think that they should be more competitive maps. I am a little bit worried for FURIA though going on to Vertigo. They've only played it once, I believe, against Swallow Patrol, and they did actually lose it, so you certainly do expect 100 Thieves to be a much stronger team than Swallow Patrol.
You would expect that, and I believe 100 Thieves beat Swole Patrol already. They're in the same group here. They beat them on Vertigo 16-5. They had a very close game versus Liquid, which they lost in overtime. And then they were also back at Blast, where they got demolished on Mirage by G2 16-3. They bounced back in that series, and although they lost on Vertigo, they lost 16-12. So map to map, that's a pretty huge improvement. So perhaps we give them some faith anyways to swing back. It's fine to lose your opponent's map pick. It's just disappointing if you get dominated on it, especially as you get to choose. So in case you guys don't know, in case you're thinking there's a knife round or whatever, if one team picks a map, the other team picks what side they will start on. So 100 Thieves chose the CD side, and underwhelming performance to say the least. But still, it's not over till it's over, and well, veteran players certainly know that. They never come into it with a negative losing attitude. This is going to be a split in towards A by the looks of things, with an underpass play. The bomb's still sticking around, but then eventually pulling the rotate. Trying to show the bomb, I think, actually cheeky. Strapped by 100 Thieves. Make them think it's A and then rotate to B. They're already out. It's working.
It was a 3-man B stack still. Just that player on short, unfortunately, Henny didn't have any idea, but they're not clearing bench. Yeah, Casarato in a perfect position. Actually going to wait and see how many players are going to go ahead and show themselves before he pounces. Looking for a good opportunity. I think he may just have to go ahead and take this one pretty soon indeed, yeah. As it steps in, he does hit the quick headshot for himself. Fortunately, it didn't get awkward. Gets the second in the end as well before he does go down to Liaz, but that is more than enough. It's given his teammates so much time to rotate in, and it does eventually drop to this 1v1. Both players actually being tagged up as well. They do know each other's positions. Yuri up on the short pillar has been spotted. The tap's coming in. The reload, though, having to come in as well for Liaz, making things a little bit more awkward, but still plenty of time. 40 seconds. Has been tagged up even further now. 10 health, so I mean, this is very, very awkward because he needs the headshot now. One to the body, of course, for Yuri will be enough for him to finish off Liaz. And there it is.
There it is, man. Casarato, the patience on this guy to just sit crouched in bench, let those Glocks get right up close to you. One of them checks you, you're probably dead. But luckily, they were none the wiser. And that makes sense as well. They'd shown presence towards A, they'd shown the bomb, and then there's still 3B. How do you predict that sort of thing, you know? Although they were very quick pushing out.
Yeah, no, they were super quick because you seen they didn't even have time for the two players that were on bomb site to spot the push and actually give that info to Henny. So he ended up just getting shot in the back of the head. Had no idea that the push was actually coming in. So it did kind of work in that regard. Well, let's see. Eco rush on towards A. So far, not really going well. Yuri does eventually get himself 3. One of the initial players jumping off of the balcony was actually taken by Henny, as he also got himself a couple. So a clean anti-eco as you would expect. Weren't up against really anything. This is where 100 Thieves do come onto the buy. It won't have an op, unfortunately, but it is. It's obviously not going to be bad. Nades-wise, could be a little bit better, but they do have to just go for the buy here, obviously. 13-4, I mean, it's such a long road ahead of them, but fortunately, I mean, the first of those rounds at least is up against a bit of a weaker buy, as FURIA have actually decided to take themselves this bonus round with 3 SMGs and then 2 FAMASs in play. So, not the greatest of buys. I'm thinking we might see maybe some aggression, but they've actually just gone for a little bit of a gamble. 4 players stacked over towards A.
The 3 SMGs is a thorn on the side for me. Oh, JKS with 1, but quickly shut down. 100 Thieves looked good at the very beginning, but only for a split second. As Art starts to move around, he's about to come up on a hazard from behind. And I thought the flank was going to come through Con in time, but no, it doesn't look like it. So Art making big plays. He's been peeked on. The molly down's going to do some damage to Jacob, who makes it away just about. Art decides not to pursue until the molly had at least quenched a little bit. And as he starts to move down through underpass, he's on an early flank. 100 Thieves slowly pushing forward, kept back by the smoke for but a moment. But that moment may be costly. As Art comes behind, Casarato knows what's going down. Art picks 1, and now Jacob, the final opponent who Art had a quarrel with earlier, he finally settles his feud. And 14-4. Wow, this is it's not what I expected to see. Well, I started this one out by saying when it was 5-2, oh, this looks like it's going to be a nice, close, competitive best of 3. Now, obviously, as I said, 100 Thieves on Vertigo, I expect to bounce back, but I was hoping for a longer map. It seems like we're cursed today, Dean.
Yeah, I mean, we've had just 3 one-sided maps so far. Although, you do say you have much higher hopes for 100 Thieves on Vertigo. So do I, but I'm still a little bit worried because I didn't expect this one to be this one-sided. So I do think if FURIA can get off to a good start especially, they could definitely carry over the momentum from this game, and it could be tough for 100 Thieves to try and get back into it. But let's see. I mean, right here, just the half buy, of course, they're going for a bit of an A execute. We don't expect too much, so it should be 15 for FURIA, but you can never really count these pistols out. And I mean, so far, getting the 1-for-1 trade, unfortunately, taking a lot of damage onto pretty much all of their players in the process of actually doing so. So from that point forward, just being cleaned up pretty much. Art already on the flank as well. Okay, JK has got one more. Liaz, he did hear those footsteps as well, but couldn't really react in time. And there it is, 3 surviving for FURIA in the end. Not too big of a deal. They have plenty of money. They still had quite a few weaker weapons in play. And of course, they are up 15-4. That's probably the main one.
What we talked about earlier, we've barely gotten to see FURIA having that aggressive CT side, and you're getting glimpses of it from Art here, pushing aggressively through apps and underpass, but really the full depth of that is being kept under wraps until Vertigo, I imagine, where I don't know what kind of FURIA we're going to see. Wouldn't be an expert on their playstyle there, that's for sure, or how they've incorporated it. I'm looking forward to seeing what they pull out of the bag. But at the moment, they'll certainly be moving onto that map with a lot of confidence. This round pans out to be what could be the final with 100 Thieves and a full buy. They've got bottom mid control, but Art picks them off with an op. And oh, he sticks around a little bit too long.
Yeah, actually got caught by the player there, pushed up on short. Okay, Henny actually find themselves a couple in towards the ramp, though, so has been able to pull it back in favor of FURIA once again. Actually missing that one there onto Gratisfaction, but fortunately did have the help from Casarado, so it is all on the Azza now. He's actually over on short, up on the railings. He had a little bit of a chance there to try and catch one player, but wasn't able to do it, unfortunately. Does then get flanked out by Vinny from top mid. So, yeah, 16-4. I mean, way more one-sided than I expected that to be. We both went in saying, okay, FURIA should have this map at least.